neither of us spoke the name of the one who was still very much in our minds. "It is true," he said. "Once the crimes were committed, subterfuge became necessary in order to evade justice. But I wonder, without the determination to keep the terrible secret at all costs, there would have been no motive to commit any murders at all." "Say that again, Poirot. I thought I must have misheard." "It is obvious. If the killer had not decided that it was worth committing 2 murders in order to keep the secret hidden—" "That is quite wrong," I interrupted, unable to contain my protest. His mistaken pronouncement was as intolerable to me as my paper ball on the floor had been to him. The motive for the murders was not a fear of other people finding out. That wasn't it at all. "What fit of delusion is this? Of course that was the reason." "No, it was not." Poirot looked alarmed. "I do not understand your meaning, mon ami. Do you not recall hearing with your own ears when the killer confirmed?" "As clearly as you do." It was little more than a week ago that Poirot had removed all need for further deception on the part of the murderer by revealing the full facts of the case himself, in his inimitable fashion. His deductions had been correct in every detail, and yet, how fascinating and frustrating that he was so wrong about the why of it all, and that his mistake should only now become apparent 8 days later. I searched his face for signs that he was amusing himself by testing me, and found none. He meant every word of it. How extraordinary. I fell silent for a while, assuming he must be right and I wrong. Traditionally, that was the way we did it. Could this be an unprecedented deviation from that general principle? The more I tossed the question around, the more certain I was. The Norfolk murders that Poirot had just solved so brilliantly were not committed in order to keep the killer's secret. To believe this was to misunderstand profoundly what had taken place at St. Wolstan's Hospital and at Frelingsloe House between the 8th of September and Christmas. I hurried to Poirot's desk and took 4 sheets from the top of the stack of clean paper. I have written, so far, an account of every case that Poirot has solved with my infinitely flawed but always devoted help. I had not yet started on my retelling of the Norfolk murders, however. Until this moment, it had felt too soon to do so. There were still a few hours before dinner. I would not normally embark upon something so important at the very end of a departing year, but I was unwilling to wait a second longer. Silently, I said to myself, let the wise reader be the judge of whether or not secrecy was the motive. Then I picked up my pen and went all the way back to the beginning. 19th of December, 1931. Chapter 1. An Unwelcome Visitor. Poirot and I were debating the relative merits of turkey and duck, and which should feature in our Christmas luncheon, when there came a knock at the door of his Whitehaven Mansion's drawing room. "Enter," he said. I was grateful for the pause. It would give me time to consider whether I had done all I could and might now reasonably concede defeat. I had been making the case for turkey, but the truth was that I preferred duck. A strong belief in the importance of tradition had compelled me to argue against my own personal taste. Since Poirot was the one who would be hosting our Christmas festivities, he should probably be allowed to have his way. This was the conclusion I reached as George, Poirot's valet, leaned somewhat awkwardly into the room. "I apologize for the interruption, sir, but a lady is here to see you. She has no appointment, but says it is a matter of the utmost importance. She believes it cannot wait, not even until tomorrow." "I can leave," I said, half out of my chair. No, Catchpool, stay. I am not inclined to receive an unexpected visitor this afternoon. I have noticed that, since the American stock market unpleasantness, most people are unable to measure accurately the urgency of their predicament. We at Scotland Yard had noticed the same thing, I told him. They come to my door insisting that they must have the help of Hercule Poirot. Eh bien, I listen patiently, and usually there is nothing more than an easily resolvable misunderstanding. A trivial...